and welcome to our second day of our virtual Fall Leadership Conference. One of the things we wanted to make sure is that we all do remember our founder's mission, Laura E. Settle. She drove those dusty roads of California to advocate for retirement security. And 91 years later, we have grown and we are stronger, and we've learned that our dusty roads are not just the highways, but they're the internet highways that we are using. So we're doing advocacy for change. We're going to present to you how you can be an effective advocate, not only from your armchair where you're home now, but as we transition back into the real world and have some smaller meetings with our elected officials. The key that we're going to go through today is one of the things that we hear a lot from our members is, why do we have so many legislative alerts? Well, we speak to our regularly to our elected officials, the leadership team, and they tell us over and over, when we speak in numbers and we do it on a regular basis, they listen. As you can imagine, our congressmen and our state senators and our state assembly members, they are inundated with thousands of requests and bills. So the more they hear from a group in a large number, they take notice. So one of the things we do say is, I go off Maya Angelou's, I learned a long time ago, the wisest thing I can do is be on my own side, to be an advocate for myself and others like me. So we hope today you will learn how you can be an advocate, not just for yourself, but for our whole organization and all of California retired teachers. Next slide, please. And Jennifer Baker.
Thank you. I'm Jennifer Baker. I am one of your legislative advocates, and I know I've had the opportunity to virtually meet many of you. I wanted to let you know a few of the rules that we're going to follow this morning. If you have a question, please write it in the chat. If we have time, we're going to try to answer as many questions as we can. But I did want to note and throw out a plug for Dave Walrat's presentation later on. If some of your questions are pertaining to some current issues that we didn't have a chance to address during our workshop, it's very likely that Dave might be going over some of those as well during his presentation. So make sure that you stay for the end, because I'm sure you're going to absolutely love what he's got to share. So with that, we wanted to talk about how we're really advocating for change at both the statewide and the federal level. There are a number of tools and resources that are on the website, and I can't stress enough how often it's being updated and changed. Suzie and I are regularly sending Debbie information, not quite on a day-to-day basis, but some weeks it's almost that much. There is so much new information that's happening at the state level in regard to legislation, or some new action that took place at CalSTRS, or an update that's happening at the federal level. And as soon as we get information that's relevant, we really make it a point to put it onto that website. So I would really, we're going to go over some of the sections of the website, the various sections, the advocacy action section, which is one of my personal favorites because I get to inundate information on that. We're also going to talk about the autumn advocacy campaigns that we're working on now, and talk about what's going on with the WEP and the GPO. So this first page that I wanted to show you, there's a lot of information, but it's a snapshot of our part of our homepage when you scroll down on the CalRTA website. And what you can see is there are a number of different categories. And in each of those categories, there is just some very important information for you. If you're really focused more on what we're doing at the state or federal level in regard to advocacy, or in regard to legislation, you really want to look at the Advocacy Action Box that you'll see. You click on that, and we have a number of categories. We also make sure to put new and updated information that comes out of CalSTRS. So whether it's a new executive order, whether there's something new happening within their investments division, we make it a point to try to put new and relevant information that CalSTRS shares with us, or information that we've found out that CalSTRS is taking action on. And we've also helped to create a new box on long-term care information, because there's been a significant amount of conversations and action taking place there. And we're going to talk about that a little more later on in this workshop. Suzie.
Hey, thank you, Jennifer. One of the main things that Jennifer did point out is that we do update all of these sections on a regular basis. And so the three main areas are advocacy action, our annual or our seasonal campaign, which right now is the 2020 autumn advocacy, and the WEP GPO updates. So if you are able to take some time, go through these sections on the website, I think you'll find such an abundance of materials that you will not only educate yourself, but you can then take the materials, send them to your division members, or also print them if you're having some small in-person meetings. Under the advocacy action section, when you first go to it, you'll start seeing, as we have our most recent 2-minute video was about the governor's executive order for retirees returning to work. So if you're interested in going back to work, or you know someone who is a recent retiree, there is no longer that 6-month waiting period. And this will give you all of that current information. We talk about the CalPERS insurance settlement. Though this is not a CalRTA supported issue, we did not ever promote or support the CalPERS long-term care. We want to represent our members in this very difficult time. So we're taking the time to contact the CalPERS attorney, get up-to-date information on the settlement from the past one that was done 7 years ago, and to try and inform you about the CalPERS rate increases. And you can see that section there. Our president, Ron Breyer, immediately responded to these concerns for our members, and we sent a letter to the CEO of CalPERS, and we're trying, to let them know we are very, very on top of this. And though our hands are tied legally, we will certainly help you in any way that we can get you the information. We also have our upcoming webinars listed. And as you know, Jennifer, David, and I, we do a lot of different webinars. And so we're going to have some new ones coming up in October. And we have our legislative updates on little snippets that I believe that was the one that I did. If you look at the section under advocacy action, there are 6 main areas. The GRC resources and materials. So if you're a division GRC person, this is your go-to spot. If you're a president, this is your go-to spot for you to be able to present to your members some current, accurate documents. Underneath that is our virtual advocacy toolkit. We quickly developed this to be all virtual advocacy during the pandemic. And now we are updating our materials to say in person or virtual, because many of our divisions are having 2 different ones that they're trying to move forward with. State legislation, there's our resources, our most up-to-date information on the state bills. And as you know, a lot of our members, we have to continue to educate them. We are not focusing just on federal issues. We meet on a weekly basis, and our weekly basis the last 3 months has been mostly putting out the fires on state legislation, staying up to date. Our members were so proactive when we sent out the ledge alerts on Wednesday to stop some of those divestment bills. So if you want information about current state legislation, that would be where you go for the resources. Under federal legislation, same idea. Current information, documents you can print or send PDF to your members if you're doing a Zoom or virtual meeting. The resources for the Social Security penalties. And then the talking points, facts and figures. One of the things I cannot impress upon our members enough, it is imperative that we get our members to act on, sign up for those weekly legislative alerts. They're making a huge difference. We have met with a lot of our elected officials. We've met with Rodney Davis, the author of HR 82, and they hear from CalRTA members. Our website and our materials are being used by organizations throughout the state and throughout the country. So it's important that we as CalRTA people realize that Debbie Pate Newberry has taken the information we give her for the current alerts. She makes it into a populated message. It takes less than a minute for you to be able to do your advocacy. Next slide, please. This is our current campaign. You know, we just finished this summer, Keep the Heat On. Now we're working on 2021 autumn advocacy, Don't Let Up. We are hearing very positive situations that are moving forward in Washington. President Biden and Vice President Harris, in their campaigns, both supported repeal of both the WEP and the GPO. So we're hoping that the information coming to us about those being included into a future Social Security bill, they will be in there. But we need to make sure they have that information that we are not letting up. So if you go to the autumn advocacy, you can see we have an overview of activities you can do. We have a send ahead packet, a PDF file, if you schedule a Zoom meeting with your elected official. We have how you order the pre-stamped postcards. If you're meeting in person in small groups, this is a time that you want to be able to write to the president, the vice president, and the first lady. As you know, she's a fellow educator. So we have a suggested message for you to include. We ask you, if you are meeting, to make sure that your members are doing this on a regular basis. If you provide them with a message and you provide them with a pre-stamped postcard, it's an easy activity for advocacy. If you have a meeting or an event, we make it exciting down here. And I know in a lot of the divisions, we do a drawing from the postcards and give prizes. So we make sure before the event is over, we have those postcards in hand and we will be mailing them. So let's make sure that our president and vice president act on their campaign promises, and we do need to let them know en masse. There's also a link to sign the repeal edition. As I mentioned, we have national groups that use some of our materials. And one of the national groups I work with is out of the Alliance for Retired Americans. We formed an alliance called the National WEP GPO Repeal Alliance. And under ARA, there is a petition. We have over 81,000 people at this time who have signed it. All you do is sign your name. It's very easy. And what we are doing is Representative Davis was so excited when our ARA member sent him the hard copy, which is, I think he would like to take that to the congressional floor and present it and have it recorded. So if we can get up to 100,000 members quickly, we will be sending the updated. You can also see all of the information of the current WEP GPO, how to check if your representative in California is a co-sponsor. We are scheduling virtual meetings with the non-sponsors from California delegation. At this time, we only have 10. We know we can get at least 5 more, so we're working hard with some Zoom meetings to get that. Reference materials, other organizations that we work with, and information about what is important about who's affected, mostly by the GPL, because as you know, all states are affected in some way by the WEP. Next slide, please. And this slide is our virtual advocacy toolkit. It gives you the same information. It's all about what you can do to have a suggested meeting for your legislators. If you were involved in our virtual March Advocacy Day, this is just a quick take on that, because it's the same ideas, being respectful, having someone assigned to each part, but to be comfortable in a Zoom setting. It's important that you continue to meet with your elected officials at the state and local level. One thing we found is they are very receptive to virtual meetings. It helps them. They can be in Washington, D.C. They can be in Bakersfield and meet with their groups. They don't have to do that travel, or you don't have to do the travel also. It's important you include the platform. We all need to remember our platform is developed from our members and our members' needs. So we need to make sure that our elected officials see why those 4 key areas are important for our retirement security. If you have not signed up for your emails, down here, there's so many different parts on the website to show you to sign up. It is a secure website. We do not share your email with anyone else, but you will see how easy it is to have your message populated, point, click, and move on. Currently, we are taking a pause on our Tuesday alerts because, as I said, we're doing personal Zoom meetings with some of our California delegation who have not co-sponsored. That doesn't mean if your representative is not a co-sponsor, you shouldn't be contacting them. The other thing, Wednesdays are designated for our state issues. And you've seen the last few months, we've had a lot of state issues, and coming down into the future, we'll have more. And then finally, Thursdays, we just switched to, we are taking on and targeting groups of our congressmen who co-sponsored the last repeal bill, HR 141, and we're asking them to again sign the repeal HR 82. Those run for 3 weeks, and if you are signed up for your alerts, you will receive them on Thursdays, and everything is there. You may add your own personal message, or you can just make sure that your signature is at the bottom. And next slide, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Susie. We are constantly involved in a myriad of issues taking place at the statewide level, and sometimes some of it gets reported after we've had to quickly take action. So it's important to pay attention to some of the new videos that go out, some of the alerts, and especially the information that we provide in Connections and Contact, because that's where you're really going to find a lot of relevant information about issues that impact you. Susie had already noted earlier that there were long-term care issues going on with CalPERS. Much of this happened very quickly, and if any of you were impacted, or have some of the members within your divisions that were impacted, you will know that this was an extremely stressful situation for anyone that was involved. And it was also extremely complicated, and it didn't happen at a good time. And so what we tried to do is put together as much information as we could, gather the facts, and created quite a bit of relevant information. We made sure that we put that information on the advocacy action section of our website initially, and then it turned into such a large issue that ultimately it got its own block on the website. But we are constantly providing new information on issues that are taking place, such as our action with the County of Marin. We had the County of Marin pass, or was talking about passing a resolution against having a defined benefit pension in CalSTRS and CalPERS. And the resolution had just absolute false and incorrect information. And it was even poorly written. It was sad that local county board of education that's responsible for education would actually be considering something as unprofessional. We quickly stepped into action. We contacted the superintendent of the county of Marin and those trustees, and provided a very technical letter that actually wound up being a very good resource that not only they paid attention to, but a number of other organizations that were also paying attention to this issue took note of. We were very proud of the work that took place, but that's not always the information that's going to trickle out very quickly. So as we need to take action very quickly on issues such as that, we make sure to provide that information on the website. So it is important, if you have the opportunity to check weekly or every other week, on the advocacy action, or browse some of the other areas, you're going to find that that information is not stagnant. It is changing very regularly. And here's an example of the letter to the Marin County Board of Education. And then additionally, as we get other timely issues, such as the new executive order that Governor Newsom had signed on August 16th, we had already provided that information by the 21st. We had also done a video that was sent out to members on social networking. So we are trying to use as many channels of communication as we can to try to get this relevant information out in case it would impact some of our members. So in case some of you may want to consider coming back to work virtually or in the classroom, should you choose to do that, we want to make sure that you have the tools and the resources you need to make decisions that are going to be right for you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And as we said, one of the main federal objectives that we've been focusing on is repeal of the government pension offset and the windfall elimination provision. Those priorities come from our platform survey that is done every 2 years. And when it was done 2 years ago, 98% of our members who responded said this was their #1 concern. That being said, I know it's been a lot of years, but we are closer than ever with the advances of being able to connect virtually with our elected officials. We will be able to move this forward. We have in the 117th Congress, we have the 3 main bills going on currently. HR 82, it actually has 214 co-sponsors. This is totally updated on a regular basis. Thanks to all of you who do respond to our legislative alerts. The companion bill is Senate Bill 1302. We have 33 senators. And right now, we are fortunate that both of our senators co-sponsored early on. Later this month, we're going to start returning our Tuesday alerts into getting other senators from different states who can sign on to that Social Security Senate bill. The other repeal bill is HR 2337. This is from Richard Neal. Unfortunately, it only adjusts the windfall elimination. It does not have any dealings with the government pension offset, and that has stayed at about 176 co-sponsors. One of the things we're hearing coming down the pipeline is that there could be, and well, there should be, a bill introduced by John Larson, who's the chairman of the Ways and Means Subcommittee of Social Security. This is historical. We are waiting patiently. He has promised this will address both the windfall elimination and the government pension offset. It would be included in a bill with many Social Security reforms. So many things will be in this bill. It would not just be repeal of the weapon GPO as HR 82 does. But what was exciting is we were able to give, nope, that's fine. You can flip it. Thank you. We were able to share that information because of the work I do with the national group with Representative Larson, Representative Davis staff, and Representative Davis co-sponsored Larson's bill even before we have a bill number. So he truly is bipartisan. He truly wants repeal. So once this comes and we get a bill number, we will be able to share it with our GRC advisory committee, take it to our board of directors, and then you should be able to start getting alerts on that. We've confirmed there is no conflict to support both. As Rodney Davis has said, all I believe in is repeal. And he has no ego if his moves slower than the others, but we are at 214. So remember, the magic number is 290, and we have to then take it to a floor vote. What can you do? As we've said over and over, get signed up for those alerts, contact your representative on a regular basis. If they're a co-sponsor, thank them and ask them to have their other California delegates sign on. Also request the GPO be added to HR 2337. That is the most punitive for our women educators, and the majority of educators are still women. Schedule Zoom meetings. If you need help with that, contact myself or your area representative on GRC, and we will help you set up a Zoom with your elected official. Sign the repeal movement. Attend in-person and virtual town hall meetings. It's always a great way for your elected official to know who you are if you are regularly attending meetings. And as I said earlier on our campaign, contact President Biden, Vice President Harris, and the First Lady with those postcards to make sure they stand on their campaign promise. Next slide. Jennifer.
And that leads us to our questions. And I'm going to stop sharing because I did see at least one question in the chat box from John. And John had a great question. Can we publish reports on where public officials stand on our positions? For example, WebGPO, vouchers, public pensions. Did you want to start that for WebGPO? Then I can talk about that at the state level.
Absolutely. And you can, if you need the up-to-date list of who has not co-sponsored, it was on one of our past ledge alerts, but just email me and I can send you the list. Like I said, there's 10 from California, though Nancy Pelosi is not listed as a co-sponsor. As speaker, she's given us her support, but that is traditionally protocol that they do not sign on. And so please do publish it. Jennifer.
When it comes to statewide issues, there are hundreds of bills that we're monitoring, and we're taking positions on quite a few bills to begin with. So we don't necessarily have that information quickly available on the website. But if there is a specific bill or issue where you would like to find out where your legislator is, you are always welcome to contact me. And I'm going to put my, in just a minute, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. And I hope that you'll write that down. And if there's something that you need to know about your legislator and a bill that we have a position on, please make sure that you let me know. We want to make sure individuals are well educated on what's going on. What I can let you know is that it's not on all bills, but particularly high priority bills. When you go into the advocacy action section and then go on to the state legislative section, I actually have copies of the bill letters that we're sending to the legislature. So if there is a bill that you want to pay attention to, that you may want to contact one of your state representatives on, you can use those bill letters to help give you background information.
And then we had a question about, can anyone sign the petition? Absolutely. You know, one of the things I told my sons, if they don't want to have to be responsible for mom's care, they need to get on board with these repeals. So it's a good way to get your children involved, and they just need to be 18 or older, voting age, and it's an easy petition. So please get your neighbors, your friends. Let's get up to that 100,000. And Jennifer, I put my Dixon family too, if you want to put your email in there.
Just
before
did it.
we're
You were too
putting
fast
out?
for me, Susie.
Well, you were talking. We're good at multitasking, but and if we weren't able to answer your questions today, please let us know through the email. We will definitely get back to you, and we're here to help. GRC is all your area representatives and our advocates. We are here. So